We had at like City Hall, this lady name was Faye Wilson, and she was the clerk, the judge, and pretty much all all that. And I had to go in front of Faye a couple times, and you got a ticket or whatever, you go down and see Faye and pay $5-6. I think the last time I seen Faye, I wasn't quite 17, and I hadn't got my driver's license yet. I had a motorcycle, and I got pulled over up. I used to live up. Mom and Dad's house is up on Clark Street. But anyway, I got pulled over by the cop. I didn't have my driver's license, so naturally wrote me a ticket. And she, I don't know, it was $5-6. She gavelled me, and she says, Don, why don't you just go get your driver's license? $5. Bye. Well, the Pink Pokey is, that's the magic rumor to it. Yeah, I was in jail, and it was probably a fairly good jail. I worked with a guy, Bill Williams, for the city, and that was probably, he passed away a few years back, but he worked with me probably from 98 to 2000, 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years. He was pretty good. He was a good guy. Him, Bill Williams, and I believe Ben Jay, they were the last people, pretty close to the last people ever be incarcerated in it. And like that bell that's out there, that used to be up on the jail. And that was, I think that they rang that. Actually, that was for the fire, I believe, if I remember right, the story goes. And then they had a little air thing for curfew. But the Ben Jay, yeah, and he was probably the last one incarcerated. Yeah, the jail, was probably unique. Again, that was before my time.
Oh, the Pokey.
Oh, yeah.
I knew the last person that spent the night. He was a guy that got drunk at the town tavern. And in those days, we had a local city sheriff, or city policeman, and he actually took the guy. He was being disruptive, and so they threw him in that little jail down there. It turned out that the state basically closed that down because it really wasn't set up for, it wasn't very good as a jail. But I remember that guy, his name was, well, I won't tell you his name. But anyway, he spent the night in jail there. That's what I remember about that. And then they turned it into a storage place for the city hall.
My father, when I was real young, was actually the policeman in Falls City. And I says, Daddy, do you ever put anybody there? He says, no, but I'll show you what I do if I did. And we walked down there together, and he opened it up, and he says, now get in. I says, Daddy, I don't want to stay. He says, well, try it. And I did, and he shut the doors and walked away. Scared me to death.
How long did he leave you in there for?
Maybe 2 minutes.
Oh, the jail. Well, they were still poking people in it when I moved here, but not very often. They mostly just sent them home.
The bell, that used to be on the jailhouse down there. And that was on Mill Street. Well, the jailhouse is still there, but I think it's all locked up now. But they used to be setting up on top of that, and then, well, New Year's Eve, they get up there and ring the bell, but it was up high. It was up on a building.
So the jail, do you remember when they actually put people in the jail?
I don't remember anybody being put in there. I think my uncle was in there one time. That was when I was just a little kid.
Growing up here, all I remember is mostly you'd ask about it and they just said, oh, it's just storage. They just stored tools and stuff. But, you'd always be curious because look inside and it was all dark and dingy and stuff. I couldn't really tell. So, but in the later years, once on this committee that I'm on, basically I was headed up getting that Pink Pokey restored down there. And, we did paint it pink inside now. It's pink again. Me and another guy painted it. So it's all nice inside and clean and everything else. When we were looking at donations and trying to get this renovations done, I'd called Polk County to see what they could do for helping out, and really didn't get a whole lot of response. And then I got a hold of Marion County, and they clued me on to Kevin Schultz. He was like the head warden of the state prison. So I got a hold of him, I got his number and got a hold of him, and oh my gosh. I mean, he came over, he brought a crew, an inmate crew, and they redid the roof, redid the tar and everything on the roof, and repainted, and you know, we actually had a prison crew redoing the prison, you know, so that was pretty cool. And then inside, they donated a bunch of actual cots that they sleep on, you know, and the bedding and all the pillows and all the stuff that just like a regular prison if you went to the prison. So we got at least one cell decorated up, you know, in prison uniform basically, you know, so it's kind of cool.